Hello, it's Martin from RT Bits, and today you can see we're set up to actually start spraying our Honcho body. Just wanted to go through some tips beforehand. Some people like to spray outside because the most important thing is obviously to have some ventilation when you're spraying with these paints. I've just set up a sort of cardboard booth under my kitchen extract, and then up in this corner I've just put a domestic cleaner just to pull away the sort of airborne particles. But do be aware, ventilation is the most important thing. So if you remember in the previous videos, we actually spray the paint on the inside of the body, not the outside. And you need to lay the colours up in the darkest colour first and then finishing with a lighter colour. So if you were spraying these two colours, for argument's sake, you'd do the dark grey before you'd do the light grey. This is just so that the darker colours would actually make the lighter colours look darker if you did it the other way around. And it's also a good idea to back most things in either white or silver to get a nice bright finish. Most important thing regarding paints, buy a good quality paint and make sure it is for Lexan bodies. That's very important, otherwise the first time you crash the car or the truck, the paint will just flake off on the inside. Make sure you shake the cans really well before using them so that the paint is all mixed well. Also, just warm the cans up for sort of 10 or 15 minutes. Just put them in a jug with some warm sort of tap water, and this will just help the paint stick to the Lexan body. Other thing to remember, 3 to 4 very light coats. That's the most important thing. If you lay down some really heavy coats, you'll get runs, you'll get blisters, and you'll run a greater chance of the paint seeping under the masking. So 3 or 4 very thin coats with sort of 15 minutes between to allow the paint to dry. Once you finish spraying each time, just invert the can, turn the can upside down, and then just spray to clear the nozzle, and that will stop the nozzle drying up between coats. When the body is drying, just obviously avoid any dust wherever you're spraying, because that will stick to the paint and give you an imperfect finish on the other side. Okay, I'll get ready and show you laying down the first colour. Okay, so first colour is to do the stripe in the red. Can's had a really good shake. You just want to check that the nozzle's running free, which it is. So I'll just pop on the extraction and I'll just show you putting down the first really thin coat of this colour. So you can see how fine the misting was we put on. You know, it's barely enough to show through. And that's how you want to build them up. 3 to 4 coats like that will be perfect. So I'll go ahead and build that paint up, and I can show you I'm peeling it. And in the meantime, while that one dries, we can actually start laying down some colours on the light buckets and the rear bed. So for the front light pod, now with the second coat of silver applied to the flatbed, you can start to see there's some depth of colour coming through. Okay, I'll carry on. I'll put all the last few coats on the flatbed and on the stripe, and then come back and unpeel with you. Now before I unmask the bottom section, I'm just going to spray a couple of coats of white over that red, just to keep the colour nice and deep once we're finished. I'll go ahead, put a few more on, and then come back and show you unmasking. We can actually now peel this bottom masking ready to put on our bottom colour. So what we need to do is just, I always peel it as I put it on, rather than try and take it all off in one go. What we'll look for once this is peeled is just to make sure that masking was sat down well and that there's no bleeding through onto the other side. Okay, so now to remove this really fine stuff, just find a little corner. And you want to virtually peel it back on itself. You should then see got a very definite edge. It's better to try and do this sort of 15 minutes after the last coat. If you leave it any longer than that, you'll find that the paint will be very dry. Again, just keep pulling it flat on itself. Now you can see that time that we spent masking was well worth it because we've got a really crisp line. Do just check that you've not got any bleeding anywhere, because now's your time to try and sort it out before you put the next coat on. Okay, I would just check that all this is clean inside and you've not picked up any of the little bits of silver or any dust, and then we're ready to lay up the first coat as we did with the other colour. As you remember from last time, shake the can really well and then just a few coats of light spray. You see really how fine that spraying is. Okay. I'll leave that for 15 minutes, go through and put all the coats on and come back and show you the finished product. With the final coat on the bottom, you can see that we've now got our stripe and then our base colour. So we can now peel this section to just leave the window masking so that we can spray the top silver colour. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so just work from one of these corners. As we did before, you almost want to peel this back on itself. There we go. You can see on the other side we've got our line, and now we're just painting this top colour. It's a handy tip. There's a small bit of red overspray in this corner. If you just get a cotton wool bud and dip it in a bit of solvent, you can then just use that to work off a bit of overspray, and turn it around, use your other end, just dry it off. There we go. Now we're ready to just lay up our first few coats of silver. Okay, 15 minutes, come back and do the remaining coats. Now the spraying is complete, you can see we've just backed off the main body in white, just to enhance the colours on there. What we need to do now is remove the window masks, it's only masking left, and then the overspray film on each of the components. The trick with the window masks now to work from the inside and just try and lift up a corner. You may find that there'll be some residue from the masking on the window that we can just clean off later. Once you've got a corner up, you should then, like the other maskings, be able to peel it away, revealing the window. And again, peel these flat like we did the other masking. There we go. So you'll see there's a little bit of glue just up in this top corner that we'll need to work on. I'll go ahead, remove all the other window masks, and all we need to do is remove the overspray film. That's really protected the outside of the shell from any spray. You might find that there'll be some points like here where the overspray film has come away. You may just need to clean up that surface if there is a little bit. So, let's have a go. The difference when you start pulling back the film is incredible. If you look at the finish. Okay. Now we have the finished colour scheme. So you can see it's a nice high gloss finish over the bodywork because the paint's been laid up on the inside. And we now need to do the same with the flatbed and the lights. So for the flatbed, again, just find a corner. You'll then peel up the overspray film. You'll immediately see the difference. The front lights, these are what we did in the chrome sort of spray. Brilliant. So they're going to be wonderful, and we've got LEDs mounted in them. The final one. The next task is to put on the decals and then really start assembling the body, doing the rear cage and mounting the rear cage to this front section. I hope you found this useful and picked up some tips for painting your body. If you have, give it a thumbs up, and please comment and subscribe, and thanks for watching.